Sri Krishna, Sri Krishna. Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Param Brahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. When we conduct our whole day, there are so many things we are supposed to do. But then, a properly organized person, he will be able to fix the priorities, and according to those priorities, his day will be conducted. This is in the outer world. And this is necessary for both the material life as well as the spiritual life. When it comes to the inner world, the world of thoughts, here we have to understand what is the priority that we have to give to. And when this is understood, then our meditative life begins. See, therefore, the process is that now enough is the outer world. Outer world has always been like this. You cannot do anything about it. See? Then, with understanding, withdraw. Withdrawal with understanding is dispassion. And this dispassion can come only by learning from the experiences of our life in the past. What I am telling you is from the Upanishad. Pariksha lokan karmachitan brahmanaha nirvedamayat na asti akritaha krutena. We have lived our life, gone through good and bad experiences. And if we have not learned from the experiences of our own life, who can help us? Now the question comes, we have this notion, all of us, that I am a very good person, I don't do anything bad to others, I follow the path of righteousness, I am the one who is living according to dharma. All of us have got this notion. But whether we were really leading the life of dharma or not, how do we know? Whom will you ask? Asking others is like andhe naiva niyamana yathanda. A blind person is led by another blind person. See? Then how do we know that we have lived a very good quality life? See? So Upanishad says, Nirvedamayat Dharmate birati jogate jnana jnana moksha prada veda bakhana. In Ramcharitmanas, Tulsidas ji writes, if we have lived the life of dharma, it will naturally lead to dispassion. Dharmate birati. Birati is vairagya. What is the vairagya? We don't have to leave anything and go to Himalayas and create crowd there. No. Vairagya is now worldly things and beings are no more an issue of disturbances for us. See how simple it is. And this has to be particularly understood by the oldies. See, I am always addressing very clearly. I don't want to address the youngsters. Let them go through their life and learn. See, this I am telling you from my observation and experience. There are many students, parents who have been all the time telling their children, now see, say Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, do Namaskar, Hanuman Chalisa, everything. Very good, you do that. But then, after some time, when they are grown up, then Swamiji, we have done so much for our children. We have taken them to the temple. We have taught them all the shloka, Gita. But now he wants to get married to one maddam. Don't we have girls in our Hindu community? Why he is going there? See? And then whole life lead frustrated life. Therefore, a complete life is what? Only good, 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 good? Impossible. If you have gone to, let us say, here we have come. This place, I do not know, we imagine, this is at a higher altitude than where from we have come. Is the road straight, like a regression line, straight up? It goes sometime up, sometime down. Sometime go up, sometime down. This is life. Failure, success. Good, bad. Mistakes, repeating mistakes. Learning from that. With this when we go, then the life is lived. Otherwise, what happens? See, another example. One parents asked me, Swamiji, please help. What? Please find out some girl for my son. I said, you have dialed the wrong number. I have failed in my life. No, he is very simple, he is very straightforward, he doesn't look here and there and all that, Then he should be a bonsai, looks beautiful in the drawing room. All experiences, good and bad, are necessary part of the spiritual life. See, my friends. And therefore, if we are leading our life properly, we will be learning from every experience, and as a result, we will grow dispassionate towards the worldly achievements and failures. Such a person who has withdrawn from the world under the influence of wisdom, he is a different quality. And the one who is withdrawn from the world because everybody has kicked him out and therefore he is gone to the forest, a different quality. Therefore, this begins, like you all must have read, they talk about the chakra opening, the 7 chakras, the Mooladhar, Swadhisthana, Manipur, Anahata, Vishuddha, then Agya chakra and Sahasrara, 7 of them. And the word that is used is chakra bhed, or opening of the chakra. The first thing we have to recognize is chakras are not a structural entity that we have to open. See? They are virtual realities. Now, chakra bheda means the secret. What is the secret of your beauty? Oh, I eat Lifebuoy soap early in the morning. Okay. So, secret. What is the secret of all these chakras? Mooladhar, at the base of the spine, is that experience wherein body identification is taken as real. Moola, the base. Adhara, the foundation. The foundation of our life is body identification. Mula Adhar. This is the secret. So what will be the consequences of this? When I am identified with the body, then next chakra is to be understood, Swadhisthana chakra. Swadhisthana chakra is a place for kamana or desire. When do we have desires? When we are identified with the body, then only we have desires. See? And what is the third state of these desires? Desires can never be satiated. They lead to greed. See? How many things we have got in our house? But are we now enough? No. Ho jayega, get one more. What for? To hang in the hanger. See? You go to your all houses. When you get into your wardrobe, you have to use the GPS to come out. कहाँ से आ जाओ? So many things. See? So these are the three stages we are caught up in our life. Mooladhar, desire fulfillment and greed. When these three things are the only story of our life, and we have not learned from this thing, we are yet to be born as the seekers of truth. See? When we rise above the three, and how can we rise above the three? Begin from the source. Body identification has to be dropped. And don't trust me what I am telling. Your own experiences analyze. When we are not identified with our gross body, but we are identified with our subtle body, and in the dream we go to so many places, do so many good and bad things, does it have an impact in our total life? No. Come on, it was just a dream, forget about it. So the real problem of our life begins when we are identified with the body. So what should be the meditation? Meditation should be start playing. What it is like being other than the body. See? But those who do not inquire and just mechanically do it. If you want to get out of your body, lie down, quiet, switch off all the lights, and go nearby place to your neighbor's house. You are lying down, but you have gone there. You can see everything in that house. Nobody can see you. Practice this for some time. Slowly, slowly, you will learn the art of going out of the body. Now, those who get lost in this kind of thing, sometimes they ask us, Swamiji, these days I am having fear in meditation. Then don't do it, meditation. No, but I want to do it. Then do it. The fear is, if I go out of the body and if I forget how to enter, what will happen? See? Second time, when I sit for meditation, because they have read somewhere, levitation happens. So, if I sit for meditation and start levitating, what will happen? Depends where you are sitting. If you are sitting below a running fan, is this meditation? Is this spiritual life? See, friends, therefore this thing should be clear. real spiritual practice, real dharma that we lead our life is we have to end up in dispassion towards things. That doesn't mean we throw everything and remain like a beggar, no. Have everything, but don't get obsessed by anything. See? By this, when we are convinced that the real spiritual practice or meditation is freedom from body identification, meaning no more living as the body, but living through the body. Like we do not live as the car, but we live through the car. See? Now, if we are clear about it, then your real meditation begins. The first step, you are not traveling distances in time, space, and object. Second thing, meditation is not an action to be done at a particular time of the day. See? The third thing, see? Learning from every single experience. See? Now, how do we start it? This will be your experience, I am sure. Our human mind can never remain attracted toward the same thing, same activity, same people infinitely. It cannot remain. In old age, husband and wife stay together. Do you think because of love? Don't cheat. They live together because of necessity. Love has died. Don't have that useless word love, love, love. There is nothing like love in this world. Live with wisdom. See? So, if we have to get rid of the body identification, now we start playing. What it is like being other than the body. You are not keeping your mind shut, but you are reflecting what it is like being other than the body. Start thinking. Then you will have to play with this idea a lot. If I am other than the mic, I have no doubt about it. What does it mean? So the mic has got a particular shape. If I am other than the mic, I don't have that shape. The mic is connected to the PowerPoint. I am other than the mic, therefore, I need not be connected to the PowerPoint. Okay, got it. Now start. If I am other than the body, means what? So what is a body? Body has a shape. Take one by one. Body has got a shape. Date of birth, gender, weight. So let us start playing. When I am other than the body means what? Body has a shape and a form, so I am without shape and without form. Now this is played by the mind. So what is happening? The mind is given a support which is formless, shapeless. Presently, the mind has a support of the body with the form, with the shape. Now, the mind is slowly withdrawn from the body and now it is playing. What it is like being other than the body means no shape, no form. So we don't have to concentrate on any point in the body. Then again continue. Now the mind is free from the particular shape and the form, therefore it is relaxed. There are no contents. Now we find out, is there anything in this world which is shapeless, formless? Earth has got a shape, form, everything has got a shape and a form, but the space has no shape, no form. Now let us play space, space. Why I am telling, insisting play? Meaning, in that play, if we are serious, victory and defeat will be an issue. If you are just playing, like we play with the kids, we play with them cricket, we play with them anything, that time we don't have any issue of victory or defeat. It is the children they have. In the same manner, when we are playing meditation, so now what it is like being space, start working. So we know that the space has no beginning, no center, no modification, no end. Now evaluate your own experience. Is it not true? We have no experience of birth, no beginning, no modification. Nobody experiences I am changing. It is the body that is changing. And space has no end. We have no experience of death. The space supports everything, rejects nothing, but doesn't get influenced by anything. Is it not equally true? We support the waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi. We reject nothing. We support everything. But we don't get influenced by anything. How many waking experiences have come and gone? Dreams have come and gone. Sleep has come and gone. Samadhi has come and gone. We are the same. This is our natural status. Therefore, it is not an achievement. We have not gained anything. Na kuch pana. When the waking goes away, we don't lose anything. When the dream goes away, we don't lose anything. Na kuch pana, na kuch khona. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. And this is played 24/7 in and through all the activities of life. And while playing this meditation, we will never have one of the biggest issue for all the students who do meditation. Sometimes the meditation is good, sometimes the meditation is bad. Because they are doing it. Don't do. Play. Then one day you will discover one principle. Nothing is ever repeated in this world. Everything is unique. You go from your house to your workplace by your car, the same road. Every day, every drive is unique. It is not the same. The net result will be like the space supports everything but doesn't get obsessed with anything. In the same manner, we will not be obsessed with anything. That obsession-free re-entry in the role of a waker is living in meditation. Like waking, we live as a waker. We don't do waking. We don't do dreaming. In the same manner, we don't do meditation. We are living in meditation. But the basic difference is, waking is limited only to the waking experience. Dream limited only to the dream experience. But meditation is permeating in and through waking, dream, deep sleep and samadhi. Because now you are looking at the canvas from a proper distance and its entirety. If we write the autobiography of a waker, what about the dreamer and the deep sleeper? Waker never became a dreamer. Waker never goes to deep sleep. But our life is based on 1/4 of the data of life. Only the waking experiences, and we write autobiography of a waker. What about the 3 remaining? See, friends, therefore, meditation is not limited only for half an hour a day, meditation and rest of the day frustration. No, this meditative experience is permeating in and through all the experiences of life. So if we have come to this, then what will happen? Worldly things will have minimum impact on us. It will not go overnight. See? Because you have no reason above. This world has always been like this. Don't waste your time in this world. See? And one day a principle will be revealed to you. What is the principle? Principle is, we are miserable for 2 reasons. One reason, because we don't have. Second reason, because we have. Those who don't have children, they are miserable. Those who have children, they are super miserable. What the God will do? Those who don't have money, they are miserable. Those who have money, they are miserable. See? Therefore, the first part of meditation is presence and absence of things in this waking world will have minimum impact on our life. See? Small little things, they become such big issues in life. One example I quoted number of times because I learned from you. So somebody's house I went. A couple married for a year or two. So when I went there, I saw their house, and then reading something, newspaper or like that. So that girl says, Swamiji, I have seen what you have seen in our house. I said, okay. Do you know why we have not painted our house? I said, I don't want to know. Your house. What we want to tell? I said, okay, tell. You know, when we got married, we have taken a vow. We will do only that when both of us agree. Not only one-sided. Both of us must agree. Very good. Keep it up. Now, he likes light cream color. I like light pink color. Therefore, we don't agree on this color. Therefore, we could not paint this house. So what should be done? I said, I can tell you simple way. But don't argue this. Paint it coal tar black. Swamiji, I said, wait, I am not through. Husband, do you like coal tar? Hey, I don't like it. Wife, I don't like it. Do you agree? Lagao. Now, what is the logic? See, friends, these small obsessions, they make our life miserable. Therefore, first meditation, living, is none of the worldly things should be an issue in our life. And it can happen only through wisdom. After we conquer this, then we come to the second stage. The second stage is like this is called the Bhutakash. Gross space is not influenced by the gross contents. In the same manner, the mind space is not contaminated by the thought contents. Now tell me, what sadhana we have to do that the contents of this gross world doesn't influence the space? No, it is natural. You don't have to do anything. Then find out your identity. Are you with the things in the world, or you are with the space? Things are many, space is one. So, we start from the many and end up in the one. After having conquered this frontier, we enter the second stage. Now, mind space. The contents of the mind space are the thoughts. Now, instead of getting frustrated, angry, and chitta vritti nirodha, the more you struggle, the more the thoughts come. Instead of that, learn. What is a thought? See? Thought is an abscess on the mind. What is an abscess? When, let us say, some thorn goes, when we go towards my room, there are many thorns there kept. That is why my wooden sandal protect me. If it is the rubber one, it will go through and through. So, if a thorn goes in our foot, what will be the result? Foreign body has entered the tissue will start reacting. In due time, it will become swollen, red, painful, and if we do not take care, it will be having pus. Why? Foreign body has entered and the tissue is reacting. So abscess is a reaction of the tissue because of the entrance of a foreign body. If this is clear, the mind tissue gets an abscess called a thought when a foreign body enters the mind. It is easier to understand. A thorn going in the foot, both are gross. But how the foreign body enters the mind? It's not mechanical meditation. How the foreign body enters? Foreign body enters when we give importance to anything in this world. If there is earthquake in South Africa, it will have impact on all of us here. But if there is earthquake in Cambodia, where is Cambodia? I don't know. It's okay. No impact. Because South Africa is important for me. Cambodia is not. Both of them are where? In their own places. How they have entered our mind? Because we have given importance to that. As much you are disturbed because of your children, are you disturbed because of somebody else's children? So how the world enters the mind? World enters the mind when we have given undue importance to anything or anybody in this world. That foreign body, when it enters the mind, an abscess called a desire is born. And if that foreign body is removed, how the foreign body is removed? Desire is fulfilled. I want a cup of tea is an abscess on the mind. And if I don't get in time, then that abscess starts ripening, it becomes big, it becomes painful, it has a pus, and the pus expresses as anger. Then I get a cup of tea, pus is removed, and desire, abscess is gone. Yes, I am happy. See, my friends, instead of learning this way, yoga, chitta vritti nirodha, the more you try, our practice of chitta vritti nirodha yoga is like what? You must have seen, this worm can, which is used for fishing by these people, they open the worm can and take out the worm and then use it. After it is opened, you cannot fill in again. Exactly the same way. Once this desire, it has no end. Because we don't learn. Where do we fail? Be very attentive. We fail. I wanted a cup of tea in the morning. I did not get it. I was miserable. Then I got it. I am happy. Therefore, the happiness has come from the tea. Now, if happiness is the content of the tea leaves, everybody should be happy with a cup of tea. But it doesn't happen. Like heat is the content of the fire, therefore anybody touching gets burnt. But then I can't negate my own experience of happiness after getting a cup of tea. Analyze. Then you will come to discover one day, desire is a burden on the mind. And when the desire is fulfilled, the burden is undone. Therefore, what will be meditation? Desire fulfillment is not meditation. Going beyond the impact of desires in our life is living in meditation. See, I want this way, I want that. Enough is want, there is no end to it. If we just look within our life, right from childhood onwards, if we have to write our biography, what we will write? Right from childhood onwards, I have been trying to fulfill my desires, but yet I could not. बालस्तावत् क्रीडासक्तः तरुणस्तावत् तरुणीरक्तः वृद्धस्तावत् चिन्तासक्तः परमे ब्रह्मणि कोऽपि न रक्तः. There was a king. Naturally, his son will be a royal child. And the king was sitting in some meeting, all big people in a big palatial hall. And a royal child was crying very miserably. So the message was sent to the king. That royal child is crying, we could not stop him, what could be done? Bring him here. You can't even know how to deal with the royal child? Bring him. Prince, what you want? I want a buffalo. Can't you give a buffalo to this child? Give him buffalo. Buffalo comes. After 2 seconds, now what you want, the royal child? Green grass. Get green grass. Green grass comes. Again, now what you want? The grass should be fed to the cow, buffalo. Feed it. So simple thing you can't do. Is fed. Again, now what you want? Take out the milk. So the milkman is called. Again, royal child, what do you want now? Put the milk back in the buffalo. Give him one. Desires have no end. And the desires express in our life in the form of obsessions, in the form of complaints. See? Therefore, the second level is, let us live not to fulfill the desires, but to get rid of desires. This is what we told you in Kathopanishad also. Yada sarve pramuchante kama yasya vridhishritaha. Desire-free mind is consciousness. Formless ice is water. Water with a shape and a form is ice. Both mind and consciousness are knowledge. The knowledge where objectivity is predominant factor, that knowledge is called as mind. And that knowledge where objectivity is redundant, that knowledge is consciousness. And that is bliss. Same way in Isha, in our Taittiriya Upanishad, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Yo Veda Nihitam Guhayam. He who comes to discover his conscious blissful existence, then what happens? Sarvan kaman sah ashnute. All his desires stand fulfilled simultaneously. Our desires are fulfilled in a sequence. See? And sequence will never end. Therefore, we start playing. That instead of fighting with the mind and the thought, struggling, learn. Whatever we have given importance to, that becomes the cause of the thoughts in the mind. See, as much I get disturbed because of my children, I don't get disturbed because of other people's children. Because I have given undue importance to my kids. And with other children, I am a philosopher. See? So, we conquer the mind through wisdom. Then we come to the third stage. The third stage is Chidakash, the conscious space. Now, what is the conscious space? Experience without experiencer. Waking experience is happening, but a waker is not born. Dream experience is happening, but a dreamer is not born. Deep sleep experience is happening, but there nobody going to sleep. Is it not true? When you analyze this statement, I had good sleep, but in between there were bad dreams. Who makes this statement? This statement is made by everyone, but we don't learn and analyze from that. This statement can never be made by the waker, because waker was not in the dream. How can he make this statement? He was not in the dream. He was not in the deep sleep. But he is commenting on, I had a good sleep and bad dream. Who makes this statement? Waker cannot make. Then there is some factor which is supporting the existence of the waker after body identification, yet he is not influenced by the good and bad experiences of the waker. That is our essential nature. And to come to that, the simple technique we told you, that experience without experiencer. How the experiencer is born? देखो सुनो, comment करो. Experiencer is born. Contrary, देखो सुनो, see, hear, no comment. Like a mirror. Mirror doesn't comment on whatever is in front. Suppose I go and stand in front of the mirror, mirror won't say, hey, oldie, get away, let someone beautiful come. And then one beautiful girl comes, will the mirror say, hey, hang around there a little longer? No. So, experiences are happening, but experiencer is not born. And experiencer is born when we have comments on everything. See, friends. Living with this understanding 24/7 is living in meditation. This is what Bhagavan Shankaracharya says. Yogarato va bhogarato va sangarato va sangavihina yasya brahmani ramate chittam. So where is our chitta, our mind? While waking, while dream, while deep sleep. Neither we become the waker, dreamer or the deep sleeper. Then we play the role of the waker, and the waker further plays his roles of various positions in life. Husband, father, mother, whatever he has to play, play that role, but don't get rolled up in that role. See, friends, living with this understanding 24/7 is spiritual practice. Give it any name. Call it the Vedanta, call it meditation, call it God realization, call it anything, doesn't make any difference. This is the truth. And all what we said is our direct experience. We are not telling you, if you do this thing, you will go to heaven. No. Now and here. The truth is now and here. I was playing fool with some children. One child, hey, tell me, how many days in a year? He said, today. So I lifted him and hugged and kissed him. So his mother said, Swami, he always talks like this thing. And you are also encouraging him. I said, Mama, God also does mistakes. A wise child is born to you. This is the truth. There is only one day in a year, and that is today. Therefore, try, be happy only today. Miserable tomorrow is okay. Today be happy. How life becomes easy. But we are so much expert in postponing. Nahi, I want to become happy after marriage. Yaar, you can never be. If you are happy now, you will be always happy. So what is living in meditation? Is living in utter present. Utter present is free from the past and the future. And therefore, it is not even present, it is the presence. Who is an intelligent person? He who is not mechanically leading the life. Every day, something new comes in his understanding. Then he is intelligent. Exactly the same way. Meditation is not a military drill. By the left, quick march, cut. Sit down, don't think. Meditation over. No. I am not telling you stories. This I have experienced in Portugal. There was International Yoga Conference. I was invited. I went there. And at Lokalananda, his name is written there, some Jagat Guru, whatever name it is. And then all his followers. And they took us in a noon, 12 o'clock, before lunch. Such a hot day it was, killing hot. And we were taken to some holy park. Only rocks and stones, no trees, maybe shrubs here and there. And he said, now this is a holy place for meditation. Sit wherever you want and I will ring the bell. So this kind of small bell which we have in front of God, he took out that bell from his pocket. When I ring the bell, you start meditation from whatever stage you are. Whether you are at Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, according to that you start your meditation. And then again I will ring the bell, stop meditation. So I was thinking, what a lovely atmosphere to enjoy this meditation. So I saw one big stone. I can't sit on the floor. Near a shrub, I was watching. And all those people sitting over there and looking here and there. I was watching everything, enjoying. My life is celebration. And what was the meditation? Dusri ghanti kawani. When will the second bell go? Friends, these are the cartoons. Don't get carried away by that. Do you want to be happy only for 5 minutes or throughout life? See. Therefore, experience without experiencer is living in meditation. Experiencer is born when comments are made. When comments are made, impressions are formed on the mind. Those impressions are the desires. Then these desires will propel us to repeat it. And the samsara is created. Therefore, my dear friends, don't get carried away by doing meditation, no. Undoing meditation. So whenever you are disturbed, first thing you do, think of me. But are you not too egoist? People think of God. Have you seen God? You have seen me, is it not? Easier. See? And then, who is disturbed? And what is disturbance? So slowly, you will get out of that disturbance. This is what in Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, Bhagavan tells to Arjuna. Matra sparashastu kaunteya shitoshna sukha dukkhada agama apayina anityan tan titikshasva bharata. My dear Arjun is referred as Bharata. Bha means knowledge. Bhaskar. Kar means hand. Bha means knowledge, light. Sun is having the rays of light, Bhaskar. Bhanu. See? Bhamati. So Rata is revealing. He who is revealing in knowledge, to him Bhagavan is telling. Not the one who is lost in karma. So to that Bharata, Bhagavan says, Matra sparashastu kaunteya, he Kunti Putra, he Arjun. Matra and sparsha. Sparsha is the objects, or the matra is the objects, and the sparsha is the sense organs, whichever way you take. So the sense organs and the respective objects, when they come in contact, two things happen. Either it is an experience of joy, sukhada, or it is an experience of misery, dukkhada, between the two. So matra sparashastu kaunteya, shita ushna, hot, cold, joy, sorrows, any experience you take, it will have these two options, what we call technically dvandva. Dvandva is complementary opposites. There cannot be only joy. There cannot be only health. There cannot be only good. Everything in this world is complementary opposites, what we call dvandva. Now Bhagavan says, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhada, then learn from that what? Every experience, let it be good or bad, has got the same story. It begins in time, it remains for some time, it ends after some time. Therefore, it is temporary. for the temporary experiences to become permanently miserable. Is it the wise way of living? See? Now our satsang meditation will be over. Don't worry. Oh, thank you, Swamiji. Then what to do till then? Titikshasva Bharata. What cannot be cured should be endured? No. What cannot be cured should not be endured. Convert the endurance into enjoyment. See, friends, that is meditation. It's so important to know, to understand. Therefore, meditation, don't make it a drill. We have to remain in this meditative poise 24/7. Then only life is lived the way it should be. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.